This episode is brought to you by Domain.com. Still undecided about which is the best Android smartphone for you in 2015? I can help you out with that. Quick ground rules before we start. I'm not going to list out all the specs from each phone. That's going to make the show get very long and boring. But I will show you a quick screenshot of those specs and give you the commentary on what I think is most important about that particular device. Here we go. And right at the top of our list is the Samsung Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge. The Korean giant has finally delivered on a truly premium Galaxy S experience, melding a glass front and back with a metal frame. Most tech journalists and even everyday tech enthusiasts agree that the redesign is a welcome one. Of course, Samsung's new look isn't without sacrifice, ditching Samsung staples like a removable back and battery. The microSD card slot is also absent in the Galaxy S6. Another major change for the Galaxy S6 is the processing package, with Samsung electing to leave behind Qualcomm, solely offering up its Exynos 7420 processor, pairing with the 3GB of RAM. And finally, the software has also been scaled back a bit with the latest iteration of the Galaxy S. But maybe you like the idea of the S6, but are hoping for something that's a little edgier. Well, the Galaxy S6 Edge offers the same specs, but adds dual edges and a few special features that take advantage of the phone's unique design. Next up is the Nexus 6P. And as the successor to last year's Motorola Nexus 6, Google recently unveiled the Huawei-made Nexus 6P. The device is the higher end of the two Nexus phones announced at Google's event, and that's incredibly apparent when you look at the spec sheet. It comes with a big 5.7-inch Quad HD AMOLED display, super fast Snapdragon 810 processor, a giant 3,450 mAh battery, and an impressive 12-megapixel rear-facing camera. Now, the Nexus 6P is pretty cheap also, considering the specs and build quality. You can purchase it from the Google Store, starting just at $499 US. Next up is the LG G4. While maintaining the design language and the unique elements of its predecessors, LG's attempt to stand out on the design front involved adding a subtle curve to the display and the availability of different back cover options in a hard plastic or leather variants. Speaking of back covers, this will make geeks very happy. The LG G4 is one of the very few flagships to come with a removable back cover, which makes possible even a rarer feature, a replaceable battery. A gorgeous Quad HD display, a great camera experience, and a smooth and fluid software iteration make for a fantastic device. If what is missing in other flagships kept you from buying them, the G4 just might be the phone that you're looking for. But if you aren't completely satisfied with the LG G4, perhaps the V10 will suit your needs better. It has the same powerful Snapdragon 808 processor and 16-megapixel rear-facing camera as the G4, but with a few extra features kicked in. Most notably, the V10 sports a secondary ticker display LG calls the second screen. This extra display aims to provide its users with useful information without the need to turn to the main screen. It will display app shortcuts, notifications, and even weather and battery percentage information. Next up is the Motorola Moto X Style. Here, Motorola tries to reach the perfect balance between performance, simplicity, price, and, well, style. By style, we're mostly referring to customization, a factor which has been an integral part of the Moto X experience since day one. Customers can use the Moto Maker to manipulate their device's aesthetics to their will. You can change the color of the metal areas, engrave the back, and even choose from a plethora of back options, including materials like leather, wood, and rubber. Now, this list would not be complete without talking about the big boy on the block, the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. It's hard denying that Samsung has always been the king of large-screen smartphones, and it still holds true today. With its crystal clear 5.7-inch display, powerful Exynos 7420 CPU, and a killer 16-megapixel rear-facing camera, the Galaxy Note is one of the best Android phones available on the market today. With all that said, though, this device doesn't come without its caveats. Samsung's decision to omit the microSD card slot and removable battery have been a controversial one over the past few weeks, especially among Samsung diehards. Even with those notable omissions, the Note 5 can still be considered one of the best out there. And finally, let's talk about the Sony Xperia Z5. It may not stray too far away from other Sony handsets on the design front, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's one of the sleekest and most elegant smartphones on the market, thanks to its mostly glass design and metal frame. It also has some pretty solid specifications under the hood. The Z5 is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 processor, backed by 3GB of RAM, and comes with a big 2900 mAh battery. It also features Sony's new 23-megapixel Exmor RS camera sensor, microSD expansion up to 200GB, and a fingerprint sensor that's embedded in the home button. Now, some of you may be wondering about the Z5 Premium and why that's not on our list. Well, we haven't finished a full review on that yet, but this article that the show is based on will be updated on a regular basis. Check it out in the links below. What do you guys think? What did I miss? What should I have added? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be reading them. Now, for those of you who remember me from 2 YouTube channels ago, How to Become TV, which is still going on, I got the .tv instead of the .com, thinking that when I had a little bit of traction, I would then buy the .com domain name from the person who owned it. But that was a false move. I should have changed the name to something where I could have acquired the .com from the beginning. Now, why is that? Because no domain name extension tells your story with the same degree of trust as a .com or .net domain name. .com and .net domain name extensions inject credibility into your online presence. Save 15% on domain names and web hosting when you use our coupon code ANDROID at domain.com checkout. When you think domain names, think domain.com. Thanks for watching Android Army. My name is Jace. Love to connect with you right up here on Google Plus or Twitter. I'm almost always on Twitter. And you don't want to forget about my brothers and sisters in Android who are working super hard to be your source for all things Android.